Did the buff work? Oh, hell yeah! What is going on, Raiders? Soda Dragon here, and today we're doing a champion spotlight on a recently reworked character, VISIX. And I can honestly say now, she is awesome. I'm putting VISIX in the same category as other reworked characters like Cythalia, Mashald, or Draco. She went from dud to stud, Vault Guardian to top tier. So guys, let's start with VISIX's skills and her A1. Flanged Mace. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has an 80% chance, bookable to 100, of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%. Fills this champion's turn meter equal to the amount the target loses, damage based on defense. So with 2 hits at 15%, we have a total of 30%, right? So not only does the target here lose 30% turn meter, but she gains 30% turn meter. Now this does require accuracy to work, but now that's a 60% difference between VISIX and the target. So this is a super useful skill, and this helps VISIX get those extra turns faster. So really good reworked A1. On to VISIX's A2, Sinister Allies. Attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance, bookable to 100, of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Also places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns, damage based on defense. And I have this booked to a 3-turn cooldown. So this is an absolute great skill. Not only does it apply a debuff to the whole other team, but it attacks. So this does damage, puts that decreased speed, the stronger version, on all of the other team, plus this puts ally protection on all of your team. Okay, so this is an absolutely great reworked skill with a very low cooldown. On to VISIX's A3, Single Combat. Attacks all enemies. Places a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Places a shield buff on this champion equal to 20% of their max HP for 2 turns. Damage based on defense. I have this booked to a 3-turn cooldown. So another great skill. Team-wide provoke. Plus it does damage on a 3-turn cooldown. You're gonna see why this is so important, the cooldowns, because they've reduced them perfectly. Everything works in sync when you see VISIX running on auto. But absolutely great crowd control skill. Not only is she slowing enemies down with her A2 and stealing turn meter with her A1, but she's also provoking enemies. This is why she is great for campaign, great for PvE, great for crowd control. Okay, so absolutely great skill. The amount that enemies are hitting her, I probably would have liked the percentage of the shield to be a little bit higher, but nevertheless, it's a really, really good skill. Let's talk about VISIX's gear. So you see I have her geared in 3 immortal sets. So what does immortal do? It's a 2-piece set, and it gives you 15% extra HP per set, plus 3% health regen per turn per set. So in all, I have 45% extra health and 9% health regen per turn. So this is really important for your provoke champions. Now she is a defense-based champion, and all of her skills are based on defense, so that helps a lot with her durability. She's tough, and I'll show you later. She is absolutely tough. She is Lord Chamfort tough. But you also want some sort of regen, or you want a healer in the team along with them, because all your team-wide provoke champs, they're going to be taking a lot of hits. So survivability is really important. So this is one way you can build your VISIX, with a lot of survivability to be able to take on all those provokes and the attacks because of those provokes. So the way VISIX works, and I kind of mentioned this with the cooldowns, is she starts off by provoking everyone, that AoE provoke. Next, she's going to use that AoE reduced speed. Next, after that, she's going to use her A1. And then the cycle just goes over and over and over. This is a cycle that she's going to use on auto. Notice 2 out of her 3 attacks are going to be AoEs, right? Perfect cooldowns. That's why you can actually build VISIX if you want her to be the ultimate crowd control champ with a stun set. So you can put a sleep set, you can put a provoke set. So if you want that ultimate crowd control, you can put another set on her like that, because 2 out of her 3 attacks she's going to use are AoEs. Okay, this is another reason why she's so good. So feel free to put that extra stun set or crowd control set on her and maximize her utility. Alright guys, let's talk about VISIX's bottom pieces of gear. Now the way I use my VISIX, I'm not really focused on damage, but her damage multipliers actually aren't bad, and they're all based on defense. So if you want to build a more damage type VISIX, that is actually very reasonable. Her multipliers aren't bad, but the way I built my VISIX, I built her more for crowd control and survivability. So on the glove here, I have a defense percentage glove. Once again, she's a defense-based champ, so I have the defense glove here. The attack percentage you see is completely wasted, but also an HP glove would work here as well. If you have an HP percentage glove, that'd be fine too. On to the chest piece. So you notice here I have a defense percentage chest piece. So it works well when she does hit. It gives her a little bit extra damage because all her skills are based on defense, and it increases her tankiness. But an HP percentage chest piece would work just fine as well in regard to survivability and tankiness. And lastly, I have my VISIX in a speed boot. Remember, 99% of the time, use a speed boot. You cannot go wrong. And so on your tank champions, they need to take turns, especially if you want to use them for crowd control. The more turns they get, the better. Okay, so VISIX is increasing her turn rate because of her A1. She gets turn meter, but that's not enough to compensate for not having a speed boot. So because she's primarily PvE, do not ignore the speed. Okay, and make sure you put a speed boot on her. On to her accessories. Firstly, for the ring, I have her in a defense ring. And notice the substat there, I have a nice percentage amount of defense as well. So the more defense we put on her, not only is she going to be tankier and hardier, but she's actually going to do more damage because all her skills are based on defense. Onto her amulet. So here I have her in a defense amulet, but there is no accuracy on the substats. So if I had a better amulet, it would be defense with accuracy as a substat, because she needs accuracy to land her turn meter down and land her debuffs. So best case scenario, you would have a defense amulet with accuracy as a substat. And lastly, I have an accuracy banner on her because of all her debuffs. So best case scenario, you can get some speed substats, some HP percentage, or some defense percentage substats. But go accuracy banner, she needs it. Alright, let's talk about VISIX's masteries, starting from the offense tree. So firstly, we have Deadly Precision, crit rate +5, so it's going to be a no-brainer for the offense tree. Secondly, we have Keen Strike for critical damage +10, once again a no-brainer. Next, we have Life Drinker, heals by 5% of damage inflicted when attacking with 50% HP or less. So this is a really good one for tanky surviving champs, okay? And this pairs well with a skill layer called War Master. So once you start fighting bosses that have a ton of HP, well, War Master allows you to do bonus damage. Well, Life Drinker works with that bonus damage. So when you're fighting those big bosses and you have War Master, you have a good chance of getting back a really big chunk of health when you need it. Next, Bring It Down. Increases damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. So this is primarily for your dungeon bosses, okay? Because they're gonna have higher max HP. Clan boss as well, not really for PvP content, because VISIX's base HP is pretty good. She's a tanky champion. You're probably going to be building her with a lot of HP. So this isn't really good for PvP content. And you probably shouldn't use her for PvP. I don't think that's her strength in any case. But for PvE and bosses, definitely this is a great mastery to have. Next, Methodical increases the damage inflicted by this champion's default skill by 2% each time it is used during battle. Stacks across each round in a battle up to 10%. So once again, this is a good damage bonus for those bosses and those waves. Okay, so this definitely adds up. And lastly, War Master has a 60% chance of inflicting bonus damage when attacking. Bonus damage is equal to 10% of the target champion's max HP or 4% of the target's max HP when attacking bosses. Bonus damage can only occur once per skill and does not count as an extra hit. So War Master is a very basic skill, basic mastery to get when you're talking about PvE content. Because once you face those dungeon bosses, they have a ton of HP, and this acts like an enemy max HP skill. This is going to give you a ton of bonus damage. Just by chance, you're going to get that bonus damage, but it occurs quite frequently. So I definitely recommend for all your characters that you're primarily using in dungeons, faction wars, places like that, to definitely use War Master. It is a very basic but required, necessary, useful PvE skill. Alright guys, let's go ahead and talk about the support tree now. Now in particular, we're running down the right side of the support tree. So why do we do this? When you need accuracy, that is when you're going to run down the right side of the support tree. If you're talking about healing or shields, you would run down the left side of the support tree, okay? But we're starting on the right side because VISIX requires that accuracy. None of her skills are irresistible. That means she does require accuracy. So starting off with pinpoint accuracy, accuracy plus 10, good. We have Exalted Death, heals this champion by 10% of their max HP the first time an enemy is killed in each round. Very good survivability mastery. Next, Charge Focus increases accuracy by 20 when this champion has no skills on cooldown. So here would be that very first turn she takes when she does that team-wide AoE provoke. So she's getting an extra 20% accuracy there, extra 20 accuracy there. Next, Swarm Smiter increases accuracy by 4 for each enemy alive, stacks up to 16. So in a wave of 4 or 5 enemies, she's getting plus 16 accuracy, so very good. Next, Arcane Celerity has a 30% chance of increasing the turn meter by 10% when a debuff cast by this champion is removed or expires. So she's casting debuffs like crazy. 2 out of the 3 moves she uses are team-wide debuffs, okay, on the enemy team. So she's casting them like crazy and they're expiring like crazy. So she's going to get that turn meter bonus from this mastery. Plus her A1 is going to get that turn meter bonus as well. So she's taking turns quick. Next, Cycle of Magic has a 5% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random skill by 1 turn at the start of every turn. So every now and then you'll see her use 3 AoEs in a row. Normally she does 2 AoEs and then her A1. But you'll know that the skill procced when she does 3 AoEs in a row, okay? Next, Lore of Steel increases the base stat set bonuses of all artifact sets that increase base stats by 15%. This increase is multiplicative, not additive. All right, so that's a mouthful, right? So what's happening here? Certain sets increase your base stats. For example, the Immortal set, right? So plus 15% HP. You have attack sets, defense sets. They also increase your base stats. So those would be benefited by Lore of Steel. So what sets would not be benefited by Lore of Steel? That would be, for example, something like your stun set. Your stun set does not increase your base stats. Your sleep set, it does not increase your base stats. Your savage set does not increase your base stats. Okay, so those that do are benefited by this mastery. And multiplicative versus additive, additive is better. So Plarium is telling us they did not give us the better one, they gave us the worst one. Multiplicative is not that much. So they're just clarifying they gave us the mini version, not the better version. but in any case, it's a good mastery. Next, Lasting Gifts has a 30% chance to extend the duration of any buff cast by this champion by 1 turn. Will not extend block damage, unkillable, or revive on death buffs. So VISIX does cast ally protection, right? So you have the chance here of it extending for 3 turns instead of its just normal 2 turns. So this is a good mastery. And lastly, Master Hexer has a 30% chance to extend the duration of any debuff cast by this champion by 1 turn. Will not extend stun, sleep, freeze, provoke, fear, true fear, or bomb debuffs. So we don't have this mastery for the provoke. It says it won't extend the provoke, but what it will extend is the speed reduction, which is a great debuff not only for waves, but for bosses. So there's Doom Tower bosses, man, a lot of bosses. So your slow speed, your speed reduction is a very good debuff. And for certain bosses, it's almost mandatory. You need to slow them down. And so with this, you have the potential of increasing that decreased speed debuff to 3 turns. And notice, she can do that debuff every 3 turns. So there's a potential here of having 100% uptime on decreased speed with this mastery. Now, it's not going to happen all the time. There's a 30% chance, but it's going to happen sometimes. And so it's worth it to get this mastery. All right, guys, I said I wanted to show you some cool things that VISIX can do. And we're going to start off with the Arcane Keep, level 20, and VISIX can solo it. Yes, solo it. So why would you want to solo level 20 of the Arcane Keep? Well, sometimes you want to do multiple things at once. Let's say level your food champs. Plus, you might need potions, so you also want to farm potions. Well, why not do both at the same time? VISIX can do it for you. Put VISIX in there with 4 food champs and she will level them, okay? She's not gonna win any speedrun awards, but who cares, okay? You can actually level 4 food champs on Arcane Keep level 20 with VISIX. Doing really basically the whole run solo. VISIX can do it. Alright guys, VISIX beating the Arcane Keep, highest level, level 20, solo. No problem. So another thing VISIX can do is she can solo the Nightmare campaign. So I've tested her on about 80% of the Nightmare campaign, and everywhere I've tested her, she can solo. All the bosses, she can solo. Yes, she can solo more too as well. It's just really gonna depend if he gets peril twice in a row. If he gets peril twice in a row, then yeah, she's dead. If he doesn't, then she can solo it. Okay, so why would you want her to solo? Because you want to get 3 stars, right? In all of the Nightmare. Plus, you might want to do 12-3 Nightmare to level up your champs. Now, 12-3 Brutal is a faster run, but technically 12-3 Nightmare gets you a little bit better rewards and experience. So if you don't care about how fast it takes, bring in 3 food champs with a VISIX 12-3 Nightmare. She will do it for you. Let's watch. There you go, VISIX soloing 12-3 Nightmare. Lord Chamfort couldn't be prouder. So let's say you need someone to help you on those stage 15 Minotaur runs. Don't worry, VISIX got you. Let's watch. Is there anything VISIX can't do? Alright guys, that is it for my VISIX video. I hope I gave you a taste of what she can do. I think it is absolutely insane that a free login champion you get can solo you through the whole campaign all the way through Nightmare. Alright? And can solo a lot of the dungeons for you. This is a free login champ. This is just insane. Her buff was great. She works great, and she doesn't just work well solo. She works great in a team. She's on my Doom Tower team. She is absolutely great for PvE content, okay? So look no further than VISIX, especially you free-to-play players. If you want to 3-star your way all the way through campaign, you got VISIX. She can do it for you, okay? So take her out of the vault, dust her off, and put her to use, because she is really good now. She has absolutely impressed me, and there's so much more she can do that I don't really have time to show you, and you guys can figure out as well and tell me all the coolest things that she can do now. So that's it guys. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't so you stay updated. That's it.